It's a new day on the Plains. The undeniable spirit of Auburn is back in a very big way. And plenty of room for one and all on the Gus Bus. As Nova enters the stadium, we get set for SEC College Football Saturday, as Arkansas State is here to play Gus Malzahn's Auburn Tigers and the team that he left behind. And Coach Malzahn is standing by with Elizabeth Morrow.
Coach, an unusual week for you, preparing for the school that gave you your first head coaching job a little over a year ago. How have you handled this week?
You know, I've just tried to, take a business approach just like you would any other week. Just try to prepare your opponent, and, I feel like we've done that so far.
What do you expect to see or want to see out of Nick Marshall in your offense today?
Well, Nick was a little jittery the first couple series. Last week he settled down, and I really feel like that first game under his belt, he'll come out a new person, be able to relax and show what he can do.
What about your running backs?
Well, running backs, we're going to rely on them greatly. We got 3 of them. We think they're all very solid, and we're going to try to get them the ball different ways to take a little pressure off that passing game.
All right, thank you. Best of luck.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the booth. Bob Rathman and Tim Couch with you. The days in the SEC where you would have a big old running back grind it out 30 times a game are over. The modern running game in this conference is now done by committee. That's certainly the case here at Auburn, Tim. Last week, 3 young men did a great job against Washington State. They're expected to do a lot of damage tonight.
They are, especially in this Gus Malzahn offense. They're going to be relied on heavily, and they all 3 bring different things to the table. Trey Mason, he's your slasher. He's going to make you miss. Cameron Artis-Payne, he's the grinder in between the tackles. He's going to get those tough yards for you. And Corey Grant is the home run hitter of this offense. And you were going to see the video. They all 3 bring so much to the table. Cameron Artis-Payne will keep the chains moving in between the tackles. He has speed as well. But Corey Grant is the home run hitter. If he gets to the edge of your defense, you can forget about it. A 2-time state champion 100-meter dash guy has speed to burn. And Trey Mason, he can hurt you in many different ways, not only carrying the football on offense, but also in special teams. He had a 100-yard kickoff return last week against Washington State. 3 very different backs, but 3 very solid guys that can all get it done for this Auburn offense.
The captains are in the tunnel, and when we come back, the Auburn Tigers will take the field at Jordan-Hare. That's next on SEC Football Saturday.
SEC College Football is presented by Frost Brewed Coors Light. SEC College Football is brought to you in part by South Walton, Florida. Go to visitsouthwalton.com to find your perfect beach.
For the second time this year, the Auburn Tigers take the field at Jordan-Hare. And when we come back, the kickoff between Auburn and Arkansas State. Of the Sun Belt Conference, Jonesboro, Arkansas. The Red Wolves are used to winning. They have the 2nd longest winning streak in the country of 9 in a row, and they're coming off an impressive beatdown of Arkansas Pine Bluff last week when they annihilated Pine Bluff 62-11. Their 4th head coach in 4 years is Brian Harsin, and he comes with a glittering offensive repertoire behind him. As an offensive coordinator at Boise State in the past 2 years, the offensive coordinator at Texas under Mack Brown, and you may have heard of his quarterback down in Austin, David Ash, who last year threw for 2,700 yards and 19 touchdowns. He brings the spread and the hurry-up offense to Arkansas State right on the heels of Gus Malzahn and before him, Hugh Freeze. The game will begin with a penalty. Arkansas State was found guilty of illegal uniforms. There's not enough difference between the uniform jersey color and the numeral. And so Arkansas State's been penalized. Brian Davis will be kicking it away. Trey Mason and Quan Bray are back deep. And this will be taken from the end zone. Quan Bray on the return and a hold. Jordan Hare erupts as Quan Bray takes it out to the 33-yard line. Making start number 2 is Nick Marshall, a Georgia native. Gets that start last week against Washington State, 10 of 19 in a very tepid performance.
Nick Marshall's a guy that they really have high hopes for. He started out as a defensive back at Georgia. Then he took the JUCO route because he wanted to play quarterback. Now he's back here at Auburn. He has a huge arm. He was erratic early in the football game against Washington State last week, so look for Gus Malzahn and this offense to really ease Nick Marshall in to the passing game tonight.
The penalty yardage now is marked off against Arkansas State, so Auburn begins the first drive at their own 48-yard line. And it's a handoff to Trey Mason. And Arkansas State was ready for that. And coming up to make that first hit, Chris Stone, the defensive end. Let's take a look at the the Arkansas State Toyota key defensive performers. Ryan Carruthers should be a great battle up front with Reese Dismukes of Auburn. They'll have that for you as the game wears on. On the handoff, Corey Grant. Trey Mason looking to turn that corner, and he's out of bounds at the Arkansas State 45-yard line. Mason carried it 15 times last week. Tim had 73 yards. And you referenced the 100-yard kickoff return. A very solid running performance. The Tigers ran for 297 yards last week. Marshall rolls, throws, and it's complete to Trovon Reed. And a big gain takes it down to the Arkansas State 12. The junior from Louisiana, who they've been waiting for to blossom as a receiver here at Auburn, makes a big play on his first catch.
And I like the play call. They move the pocket for Nick Marshall. It eliminates the full field read. It only gives him a 1-2 read. Get the ball out of his hand quick. Trovon Reed, a guy, big play potential after the catch.
From the 27-yard line, stepped out of bounds, limiting a bit of that big game. Nick gets hit, and he's driven back. Mr. Couch, the forward keys to the game.
Well, the forward keys for this one for me, starting with Auburn on offense, they have to get the passing game going, and they've done a good job of that so far already. They start SEC play next week. Key to get that passing game going. On defense for Auburn, contain the run. Arkansas State had over 500 yards on the ground last week. It's going to be a big thing here tonight if they can stop the run.
Nick looks to throw, and it is complete. Oh, the ball pops free and rolls out of bounds. Jay Prosch made the grab and was oh so fortunate to see that ball trickle out of bounds.
He sure was. Prosch, very versatile guy. He's a good blocker at the fullback position out of the backfield, but that time I think his foot would have been out of bounds anyway before he fumbled that ball, but very fortunate it did take a bounce out of bounds for Auburn.
Senior from Mobile. Payne in the backfield. He'll get the carry. And takes it inside the 15 down to about the 12-yard line.
And this is an area where last week Gus Malzahn was not happy. 3rd and short. They missed 2 of those opportunities last week. This time they convert. I'm sure that was worked very hard in practice all week long. They like Cameron Artis-Payne, the big back in the backfield, to pick up those tough yards on 3rd and short.
Mason coming back toward the formation, gets the carry. Touchdown, Auburn. There is a flag down.
Holding, offense number 62. Penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
Kenny Williamson, our referee this evening. Chad Slade, the guilty party. So A big break for the Red Wolves.
It's the right guard, number 62. That's Chad Slade. As he's trying to fight off, you see right there, getting the hand on the jersey of the Arkansas State defender, pulling him back in, freeing Trey Mason. That alley to the end zone. Good call by the officials.
And their penalty flag was left on the field, but now the umpire goes over to get it. And we're ready for a 1st and 18, and this play is blown dead. Another flag for a procedure.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty. It remains 1st down.
Poor Chad Slade's 2 for 2.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. Coach Malzahn not happy about that. First of all, it wipes a touchdown off the board for Trey Mason and this offense on the opening drive. Now you get another penalty to back that up, and you're looking at a 1st down and 23.
Swing it to Mason. Nice tackle made by Lee. That's Keyshawn Lee, redshirt junior from Prattville, Alabama. Last week had 7 tackles in the Pine Bluff win. He was the defensive MVP of the GoDaddy Bowl last season. Nick Marshall, Wilcox County High School, a 1A school in Georgia. Throws and incomplete at the feet of Sammy Coates. Tim, when you watch the film and you see the passing game of Nick Marshall, what goes through your mind?
Touch, Bob. I want to know where the touch is. To me, he only has one pitch right now, and it's the fastball. You see right there, that's a play where the quarterback, all you have to do is put air on that football, allow your receiver, in that case, Sammy Coates, to run underneath it, put it on the back pylon at the end zone. Right now, Nick Marshall needs to work on throwing the football with more touch.
Plenty of time to the end zone. Touchdown! Marcus Davis. The freshman from Florida comes up with his first collegiate touchdown, and Nick Marshall with the touchdown strike. Auburn will look to see if they can run a 2-point conversion. They cannot, and so the kicking team gets aligned, and Cody Parkey will come on to add the PAT. Marshall went 4 for 5 in the air for 49 yards in that drive, and Parkey nails his 54th consecutive point after touchdown. Opening kickoff to the end zone for the Tigers.
Hot Sides are here for a Coors Light game break. Let's go to Athens, Georgia, Sanford Stadium. Early 4th quarter, Georgia up 4, 3rd and 13. Murray rolls to his left. He finds that man, Justin Scott Wesley, for the touchdown. He goes 85 yards. Georgia up 41-30 with about 30 seconds left in the game. Back to you, fellas.
7-0 Auburn, and you're looking at freshman Marcus Davis, who was a dual-threat quarterback in high school down in Florida, and they've turned him into a receiver here in college. And kudos to Nick Marshall. That's his first career touchdown pass, first career TD reception for Davis.
And here's Marcus Davis lined up in the slot, just as I talked about Nick Marshall having to throw the football with more touch. Look at the read. You see the middle linebacker blitzing, opening up the middle of the field. He fits that football in over top the linebackers, in front of the safety, coming over the top. A very nice throw from Nick Marshall. That's what this Auburn offense wants to see out of him, getting the football down the field with accuracy and touch.
Pretty impressive. Auburn had a touchdown taken away by penalty, backed up 1st and 23, and stick it in the end zone.
Very impressive. You know, you get the touchdown wiped off the board, like you said, Bob, and I'm sure that makes Gus Malzahn really happy that his offense is resilient enough to go ahead and answer the bell and still put that thing in the end zone.
Cody Parkey kicks it away. At 5 touchbacks last week, this one's going to bounce through the end zone. And Arkansas State takes over. Adam Kennedy. And rather interesting return to Jordan Hare. He was a member of Utah State 2 years ago when the Utah State came here to open the season, and they lost a heartbreaker. They were up by 10 with less than 4 minutes to go, and Adam Kennedy was the backup quarterback that day to Chucky Keaton. He returns with his new team.
Ironic how it happens for Adam Kennedy, but he's here with this Arkansas State team right now. He's a quarterback with great size. He's 6'5", over 220 pounds, and he will benefit greatly from the coaching of Brian Harsin, who's worked at Boise State and Texas.
They come out with 5 wides, and a quick throw comes to David Oku. These Auburn defenders will be tested, no doubt about it. Craig Sanders at rush end. Robinson Therese was terrific with 2 picks last week, and Jonathan Mincy also had a huge game in the win over Washington State. Now under center. Kennedy rolls, flips, and this pass is incomplete. Intended for Oku. If that name sounds familiar, David Oku, to you SEC fans, this is a young man who began his career at Tennessee and rewrote some records returning kicks. But since after Lane Kiffin left, he transferred to Arkansas State. He is now a senior and has had a marvelous career.
Big down early for this Arkansas State offense. You do not want to go 3 and out in this environment, this loud crowd noise. You want to get a first down, quiet this crowd just a little bit.
And so much so that Arkansas State wants to take a timeout. 36-year-old Brian Harsin, the freshly minted head coach. He'll talk it over with his offensive players, and we'll step aside with a 7-0. This is David Oku coming out to take his spot. And Tim mentioned a big 3rd down here for the Red Wolves. Kennedy. Plenty of time. And throws over the middle for the first down. The catch is made by Allen Muse, wide receiver, senior, and a big target at 6'4".
Right about that. He used that big body perfectly that time, like a basketball player almost. He's just going to go ahead and box the defender out. He knows exactly where the sticks are. See him use that big frame and just use that big body to keep the chains moving for Arkansas State.
Oku. Over the 40 to the 42. That last tackle, Jermaine Whitehead, also Casanova McKenzie was in there. Oku last year rushed for over 1,000 yards. He'll get a breather. 16 touchdowns to his credit. Straight ahead. McKenzie again. And on the tackle. Michael Gordon was the ball carrier, 5'8" sophomore. This team rolled up the rushing yards last week, 509, and tied the FBS team record. They became the 7th club to have 4 100-yard rushers in one game. I suspect they'll go a little deeper in the playbook tonight. Pressure from the outside, and Kennedy will run it. Gets to the sticks, and he's out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Time for the Ford Keys. For
Arkansas State, it's early confidence, and they're doing that right now. 2 first downs already in this drive. I think the more confidence they get early in this game, the better it's going to be for them. And defensively, it's guess right. It's going to be a chess match with John Thompson, the defensive coordinator, and Gus Malzahn all night long in this football game.
Now, last week, Auburn defensively had difficulty stopping the Washington State run game, a team not known to run the football very well. And now Arkansas State is starting to open up some holes.
They are. And, you know, I think this Auburn defense really struggles at the linebacker position right now. I don't think they feel very confident in it, especially against a team who has the ability to run the football like Arkansas State does.
A 2nd and 1, and not enough for the first down. David Oku was the ball carrier for the Red Wolves. Brian Harsin taking over this program for Gus Malzahn, and that's been the story all week, all the cross-pollination between these two coaching staffs. is a very strange dynamic. The coaching staffs aren't playing one another, but so much recruitment with Gus being gone from the Auburn campus only 12 months and then comes back to take over as the head coach. He had so much to do with so many of the young men in this game. Stretch of the change, and that's short. So Brian Harsin makes the play call. It will be 3rd and 1.
You know, I think that's a good point, Bob. You talked about how well these coaches know each other. You wonder in practice all week long if they had to change hand signals, you know, because the coaches know what these offenses are trying to do. And obviously, Gus Malzahn and his staff, they know personnel. So they know who to go after and who to take shots at, especially on the defensive side for Arkansas State.
Okay. The first down and then some. Over the 35 to the 34-yard line, an 8-yard gain on 3rd and short.
And this was a question I had coming into this football game. Could Arkansas State, a team that we already mentioned ran for over 500 yards last week against much lesser competition in Pine Bluff, can they do it against an SEC team in this environment on the road? So far, so good for this Arkansas State offense.
Griswold, tight end in motion. Kennedy, good pressure, throws, it's complete, and to the 17-yard line. Griswold makes the catch. 6'4", redshirt sophomore who also moonlighted on the basketball team a couple of years ago.
He's a tight end they like to get the ball to. It's a late release, a delayed release. You see him go out to the flat and turn up the sideline, and he was simply lost in coverage from the Auburn secondary.
First and 10 for the Red Wolves. Kennedy. And a good hit. Out of bounds as Oku made the catch, and that time it was Chris Davis coming over to knock him away. Pressure coming from McKenzie on the quarterback.
Well, that time Ellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator, tries to heat up Adam Kennedy, get some pressure in his face, make him uncomfortable in the pocket, get some hits on him. He's been standing back there in that pocket, unhit already in this football game. That time they decided to come after him and make him get rid of the football way before he wanted to.
The snap. And a penalty flag. Down goes Freddie Knighton. But there is a flag. Kenny Williamson over to sort it out as Freddie Knighton comes in and took the snap.
Illegal formation, offense, more than 4 players lined up in the backfield. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
And the defensive player of the week, number 27, Robinson Threezy. Look at him get off the block of the big offensive lineman. He's only 5'9", but he's strong, he's fast, he's really, really good out in space, and that's running down Freddie Knighton, a quarterback that Arkansas State will use a lot, especially in this area of the field in the red zone. He had 3 carries last week against Pine Bluff, and he went over 100 yards, so a very explosive guy who can bring big plays to the Arkansas State offense.
Arkansas State has converted all 3 of their 3rd downs so far. Huge one here, 3rd and 10. 7:15 left in the opening quarter, 7-0 Auburn. Kennedy. Under pressure, incomplete. David Oku was the intended receiver, but great pressure by the Tigers.
They try to set up the screen. 17, the linebacker, Chris Frost. Watch him. He sees that thing developing the whole way. And if he doesn't get over there, look at all the open space that Oku had to run. It had linemen out in front of him. That thing may have went for a touchdown, if not for the great instincts and speed of middle linebacker Chris Frost.
Brian Davis, a 34-yard field goal attempt. This will be his first field goal attempt of the season. Senior, first-team All-Sun Belt kicker. Up, and in. Brian Harsin gets 3 out of the drive. He's happy about it. 7-3 Auburn.
SEC College Football is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, Frost Brewed Coors Light, Regions Bank, and Ram Trucks.
Head coach Brian Harsin of Arkansas State, Tim told us in our meetings this week it was critical that Brian Davis have a good day kicking field goals. He wasn't so sure that he'd be able to get 7 out of every drive, but when they got in field goal range, Davis had to come through.
Well, he was right. That time he knew it was going to be tough to put the ball in the end zone, especially down on that end of the field against this Auburn Tiger defense, and the field goal kicking was going to be crucial. That time has to be happy. They get 3 points out of the drive. They convert a couple big third down conversions. So all in all, a good drive, opening drive for Arkansas State.
Mason from the 1. Red Wolves are able to turn it back in as a flag comes out at the end of the play. Gain to the 39. And Kenny Williamson will report the foul.
During return, holding, number 81, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
C.J. Uzoma was guilty, and that will back up the Tigers to the 15-yard line, where it becomes 1st and 10.
Good start to the game for Nick Marshall. 4 out of 5 already early in this game. So much different than what he did last week against Washington State. As I mentioned earlier in the show, he was very erratic against Washington State. Balls were selling only. He was missing wide receivers, throwing the ball over the head. A lot of nerves. Definitely a big improvement for Nick Marshall from week 1 to week 2.
And Nick on first down throws the deep ball. Comes incomplete at the 45.
Trying to get the football into Sammy Coates. We talked about the big arm that Nick Marshall has. He didn't put enough on this when he overthrew Sammy Coates a couple times last week for touchdown opportunities. I think it was probably in the back of Nick Marshall's mind that he didn't want to overthrow Sammy Coates again, and that's probably why that football came up a little bit short, because I can guarantee it's not a lack of arm strength.
This is Marcus Davis, and gathers it in just over the 20-yard line. Nick Marshall came after a transfer from Georgia through junior college at Garden City in Kansas, where he rushed for over 1,000 and passed for 3,000, but did not play in the spring.
That's right, and that's a big disadvantage for Nick Marshall in this offense. You don't get a chance to go through spring ball. They've really only had him on campus here for 4, maybe 5 weeks now, so he's a little bit behind the curve.
Ruling on the field that the ball was fumbled and recovered by the runner. The previous play is under further review.
So they want to check the spot. Clearly, Marcus Davis gathered it in, and here's the view on Nick Marshall. And you talk about being a quarterback and then turning into a defensive back at Georgia. There you see the ball squirting out. Right. I think they're going to mark it back at the 19.
Right, ball definitely coming out before the knee hits the ground. Davis does a good job being alert, just getting on that football.
But your take, because here's a young man who came out of 1A football in Georgia down in Wilcox County and set the all-time Georgia high school record for touchdown passes with 103. Then goes to Georgia. They turn him into a defensive back. That doesn't work out. And it's off to JUCO.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Auburn ball.
Last week, the best part about Marshall's game is he didn't turn it over.
And that's a big thing that Gus Malzahn is looking at, because he did turn it over a lot in junior college. You talked about all the great things he did there in his time at junior college, over 4,200 yards, total yards in one season, but he did throw 20 interceptions. He led junior college in interceptions, so they were very, very cautious about letting him throw the football and taking care of it.
3rd and 5. Nice flip to Denson. Knocked off his pins, but he gets the first down. Up to the 37-yard line. 16-yard gain.
Auburn going fast here. They're getting up to the line, trying to snap the football again, but Nick Marshall looks very, very good. He's settled into this game. He looks like he knows where he wants to go with the football, making very good, quick decisions and accurate throws.
Artis Payne. No, it is going to be Marshall. Nick Marshall. Boy, did he get out there quickly.
Had me faked out too, partner. I thought he gave the ball to Cameron Artis Payne. He did a really nice job of riding the football into Artis Payne's belly. Look how long he keeps it in there. Defenders in Arkansas State have no idea where the ball's at. Then all of a sudden, Nick Marshall's out on the corner, out on the perimeter of your defense, picking up huge yardage.
He gives it to him this time. To the 35. Cameron Artis Payne. And look at that body, 5'11", 210, and as tough as they come. A fullback in high school, had a great spring, was the offensive MVP of the A-Day game, had 117 yards rushing. He comes out, Trey Mason goes back in. Marshall. And out of bounds, another Auburn first down. Much better rhythm. Even though things get blocked and there's some, maybe doesn't come up the way you designed it, but Marshall is a little cooler under the quarterback role this week than last.
He really is. He looks very, very different. And Gus told us in our meetings, Bob, that he said he thought that Nick Marshall would be settled down and get into this football game much differently than he did last week. And we talked about how the nerves got the best of him, but it's a big difference from week 1 to week 2. You've got some game action. You know what's expected of you.
Wallace has come in. And the backup QB, Jonathan Wallace, takes the snap. And he runs it down to about the 17-yard line. The sophomore from Phoenix City, Alabama. He'll stay in for another play. The give is to Grant. Touchdown, Auburn. Very impressive Auburn offense. 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns. Cody Parkey nails another one. 14-3 Auburn with 3:56 to play in the first quarter. Junior Corey Grant for 17 yards. 14-3 Tigers.
SEC College Football is brought to you in part by Hyundai, Academy Sports and Outdoors, Frost Brewed Coors Light, and Husqvarna.
Gus Malzahn's Auburn Tigers now with a couple of touchdowns and a 14-3 lead here in the first quarter. 3:56 remain. And you called him Auburn's home run hitter. He just got a fastball down the middle and knocked it out of the park.
I'm telling you, if he gets to the edge of your defense and he's able to put that foot in the ground, square those shoulders and get them headed towards the end zone, you can forget about it. He has so much speed and great blocking, too, by his wide receivers.
Now lines up on special teams as the Tigers kick it away. J.D. McKissick is going to run it out. And is tripped up as he gets it out to the 25-yard line. J.D. McKissick is someone who the Red Wolves are counting on to supply a ton of offense tonight in his return to Alabama. He's from Phoenix City and has not yet been a factor on that first drive. But this kid can play. He's a redshirt sophomore and was a freshman All-America last year.
Yeah, you can tell how aggressive he is with the ball in his hands. He brought that kickoff back about 9 yards deep in the end zone. He feels like he can break a big one whenever he touches it. Had 103 catches last year as a freshman. Very explosive guy. They're going to have to start getting him the football in this game.
Adam Kennedy Here's the quarterback for Arkansas State, David Oku, with him in the backfield. This pass comes to Julian Jones. He's taken out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Arkansas State had a great deal of success. You see the similarities in the way the clubs play at the offensive end. Brian Harson's got to be thinking, you know, we've got to get mixing a few stops here. But so far, so good on the offensive side.
Right, the offense is moving the ball really, really well. They're running the football the way they want to. Adam Kennedy looks very relaxed in the pocket for him, very accurate.
Off the play action. And that is caught. Guess who? J.D. McKissick.
Well, we said they had to get McKissick the football. I believe it was a double move on the outside by J.D. McKissick, but look at the footwork in the pocket by Adam Kennedy. Great protection from that offensive line. That's why you see the separation that time between J.D. McKissick and the defensive back. It was a great double move to free himself.
40-yard gain and more yardage up the middle for Oku and company. Will it come down to the fourth quarter, and who has the ball last?
That's the way it's looking, isn't it, Mark?
Red Wolves hustle up to the line on second down and 5. Oku's carried it 5 times for 28 yards. This time the give is to Sir Gregory Thornton, the senior from Memphis.
Good pressure that time by the Auburn defense. You're going to see Auburn defensively playing a lot of zone. Gabe Wright, number 90, in the backfield to stop that run before it gets started. But they're going to play a lot of zone defense because defensive coordinator Ellis Johnson wants the eyes of those Auburn defenders looking into the backfield with all this misdirection and whatnot. He wants those guys not in man coverage where their backs are turned, but in zone where they can see what's going on in the backfield.
3rd and 6. Out of bounds. Jones is shy of that first down by about a yard. And with 1:44 to play, Brian Harsin is going to go for it here. Getting the personnel on to go for it on 4th and a yard.
They're bringing in the heavy personnel. They have 3 tight ends on the field right now.
And an eye behind Kennedy. Auburn has 9 in the box. And they stun him. Chris Davis led the charge. Anthony Swain was there. A host of Tigers around the football.
Well, Auburn obviously knew they were going to run the football. They had everybody at the line of scrimmage. They had 9 guys up in that box. You just can't account for all those guys. Chris Davis, number 11, the defensive back, he's a free hitter. You see no one's able to account for him, and he's just in the backfield making the play. But I like the call by Brian Harsin that time to go for it on 4th down. Your defense is struggling to stop Auburn when they have the football. You've got to be able to get points, and they're in a good position to go for it down here going in on the 20-yard line.
That was our Z-Max performance play, and it comes early in our game. 14-3. Auburn with 152 yards of offense in the opening period. Penalty flag flies, and it may be a delay of game against the Tigers.
There is no foul for illegal substitution. There are 11 players in the formation.
All right. Play clock is reset to 25. And the myriad of signals and signs from the Auburn sideline. I know you've got that figured out. We can explain that later.
Sure.
Nowhere to go for Trey Mason.
I'm not sure if that was the Rick Ross play or the Incredible Hulk play, but they may want to scrap that one.
We need new pictures. 14-3. I pity the fool.
My kids would like that card. A little despicable me.
45 seconds remaining in the quarter.
Timeout.
And Auburn stops
First
it,
timeout this half.
taking their first timeout
Second.
of the half. We'll step aside. 14-3 Tigers. From the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn, Alabama, Bob Rathman, Tim Couch, Elizabeth Morrow, and the great men and women in our crew. Happy to bring you SEC College Football Saturday. And an Auburn offense that has not been stopped at all in this first quarter. Back to work on 2nd and 13. Nick Marshall dropping back. Has to get outside and throws this one too tall for Sammy Coates. And there is a flag. Kenny Williamson, the veteran SEC referee.
I think they're going to get Auburn for maybe a late hit on the quarterback, Nick Marshall.
Holding. Offense. Number 73. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Greg Robinson, the left tackle.
Tough spot right here for a young quarterback. You're facing a 3rd down and 13 in your own territory. You got to be really, really careful with the football. You got to expect Arkansas State to heat you up with the blitz in this situation. Good decisions here from Nick Marshall. Punt is not a bad thing.
Mason. Driven down shy of the 1st down at the 30-yard line. Pressure from the end, and you could hear the Auburn bench screaming he was offside, but no flag. And it will be 4th and 1.
Looks like they're going to go for it.
That seems to be the theme of the evening.
I guess so. This is a little more dangerous than what Brian Harsin did down, going in to score in the red zone. This is out on your own 29-yard line.
Coming to the end of the period, and Auburn is content to let it expire. And the first quarter is history. And what a first quarter. Gus Malzahn and his Tigers going up and down the field. And at the end of one in Auburn, 14-3 Tigers. The start of the second quarter, and Auburn is facing a 4th and 1. For the Tigers, Stephen Clark in the punt. R.J. Fleming, the deep man for Arkansas State. Clark is just unbelievable, the senior. Amazing in limiting returns. He punted the ball 70 times last season, only 5 return yards for the opposition. And this one will roll. And an Auburn roll to the 20-yard line. A punt of 50 yards, 0 return yards. Arkansas State ball when we come back.
And now, Walt Frazier, 2-time NBA champion.
Hi, I'm Walt Clyde Frazier. And for me, being a man is all about style, athleticism, and a passion for romance. But style never had a problem there. But for the other two, I get help from Ageless Male, a supplement that helps boost free testosterone levels.
Stop feeling like you've lost your edge. Pick up the phone right now and get a 30-day supply of Ageless Male for free and be the man you want to be. As most men age, there's a drop in testosterone levels that can cause a dip in energy, muscle tone, and libido.
It can make
Husqvarna is known for high-performing, durable, and innovative products. So is it any wonder why your Husqvarna dealer...
We are ready. First down at 10 for Arkansas State. And the handoff goes nowhere. David Oku. They have leaned on him heavily in the run game.
They have, and they will continue to do it all night. That time, nice job by the defensive end, number 13, Craig Sanders. Oku was trying to get to the edge of the defense, trying to turn the corner, but Craig Sanders held that edge. He set the edge, set the anchor point, and forced Oku to turn it back up where the defenders were pursuing.
Last 3 times Arkansas State has rushed the ball, they have lost a couple of yards total. Oku goes out to the flat. Kennedy under pressure, dumps it underneath to Jones. And gang tackled at the 28, his forward progress. This is going to set up a 3rd down and a long 2 with 13:50 and counting in this second period.
Perfect play call that time by Arkansas State. They had the blitz coming. Auburn did off the edge, and they had the screen set in right behind it.
Graduate student Adam Kennedy, the new quarterback, replacing one of the all-time greats in school history, Ryan Applin, for the Red Wolves, who flourished under Gus Malzahn last season. Now he gets a new head coach and another offensive genius. And by Carson, here comes the running play, and they get the first down at the 33-yard line. So Kennedy on the keeper. Owens made the tackle. Ladarius Owens, a junior from Bessemer, Alabama. Kennedy at 6'5", 224. He's going to go deep. Jump ball. And it's going to be a completion for Arkansas. Oh, out of bounds. Out of bounds. Alan Muse.
I think Brian Harsin thinks that he caught that football, and I know that Alan Muse thinks he caught the ball. They had him in one-on coverage with Alan Muse and Chris Davis working down the sideline. Let's see if he has possession. Right there's the football. There's 2 feet in with the ball. That's a catch. I think that that's going to be a catch. I think they'll take another look at that in the replay booth. I think Alan Muse is very, very confident that he pulled that football in.
They're not going to stop it. It appeared now the whistle comes.
The ruling on the field is that the pass was incomplete. The receiver was out of bounds. The previous play is under further review.
Now, when Ben Oldham takes a look at this up here in the replay booth, I think he'll have a different look.
I think so. And the question to me is he absolutely had control of the football initially at the top of the catch right there. It's as he comes to the ground, is the football moving? He definitely has both feet in. He has a hip in. Is the ball moving? I think he's possessing I think he has full control of that football, and I think that's going to be a catch and a big first down for Arkansas State.
Kennedy has looked terrific throwing the football.
Boy, he really has. And last week, he wasn't asked to do much because they were so effective at running the football. He was only 9 out of 12 for 150 yards, but he's looked really, really good here against this Auburn defense. That was a great throw and a great read. He found the one-on-one matchup on the outside. His big 6'4" wideout going against Chris Davis, who's only 5'11". You put it up high and let him go up and get it.
And Tim, you made that call earlier so well about Muse at 6'4". That ability to go up and grab one, a jump ball situation, and came down with it.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass.
Wow.
I guess they decided that the football was moving as he went to the ground. He didn't maintain possession throughout the catch. It looked to me like he had it. It was kind of hard to see. The bodies were kind of shielding the football a little bit, but the replay booth felt differently.
Well, Allen's not a happy camper. They'll go again, 2nd and 10. Kennedy right in the middle. And the pass is complete. This goes to Griswold, the tight end.
Using his big tight end tonight. That's the 2nd catch we've seen for Griswold. We saw him in the 1st quarter get free down the sideline. That time just working in the middle of that Auburn zone defense. I told you Auburn's going to play a lot of zones. There's going to be a lot of holes in that. Receivers can't run through those zones. They have to find the seams and sit down, show the quarterbacks their numbers. That time, a perfect job of doing that by the tight end, Darren Griswold.
If we could see their numbers, it'd be nice to show it to them. Here comes the handoff, and this one's going to be Gordon, and he is met and quickly by Holland. Jake Holland from his linebacking spot, the senior from Pelham, Georgia. A young man who's endured a ton of injuries here.
He has. He's been through a lot here at Auburn. He's a guy that they feel is quarterback of their defense. They want to see a little bit more production out of him, but he is really, really good when the football is run right at him. He's tough. He's physical. He will find the football and make a play for you.
2nd and 10. Kennedy to the 50. And the catch made by J.D. McKissick. Last year, he set a school record with 103 catches in 12 games.
It's unbelievable, and they're trying to get him the football as much as they can. Right now, in the secondary for Auburn, they look to be playing a little soft. Arkansas State has taken some shots down the field. I think it's backed up the secondary, the defensive backs and safeties of this Auburn defense, and now they're just hooking up in front of them for big gains.
Kennedy throwing and complete. Kenneth Raines, the tight end, another first down for the Red Wolves. Chris Davis defending, but another big target at tight end, 6'4", 260-pound Kenneth Raines out of Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Really impressed with Adam Kennedy throughout this football game. Just the decision making, where he's going to go with the football and getting rid of it accurately.
Now, Freddie Knighton.
Here we go.
As he is so affectionately called, Freddie Football.
Freddie Football.
In Jonesboro.
The Freddie Football package, they want to get him about 15 to 20 touches tonight, and you'll see why. He's electric with the ball in his hand.
Talks to his center, Bryce Giddens. Timeout. And the timeout was granted. And it comes with 10:45 to go here in the second quarter.
Arkansas State. Second timeout this half.
A break in the action. We'll return to Auburn after this on SEC College Football Saturday.
All right, we got some action taking place down in Baton Rouge. Course like game break here. You see Zach Mettenberger, the junior quarterback, drop back. He finds Odell Beckham Jr., 28 yards and a touchdown. It's now 28-0 LSU second quarter. Back to Auburn, Alabama.
14-3 here. And Freddie Knighton has come into the game for Arkansas State. There's a nice War Eagle welcome. As we're thinking about all of the men and women in the armed forces.
Seemed to be a lot of confusion on trying to get the play call in from the sideline in Freddie Knighton. I'm not sure if he's confused on what to do on the call against a certain look that Auburn's doing or what's going on, but that's why they had to take the timeout, and still seems like he's a little confused.
Knighton up the middle, breaks a tackle. And is brought down from behind at the 36-yard line. Big gain on first down for Knighton, and out of the game he goes. And I think Adam Kennedy, back in at quarterback now, has been outstanding here in the first half.
He has been outstanding, but I wonder what the next move is going to be for defensive coordinator Ellis Johnson. He's been sitting back in the zone, and Adam Kennedy and these wide receivers have been picking him apart underneath. I wonder if they're going to heat him up with the blitz here soon.
To the outside. And quickly down the sideline, Trez Houston. Redshirt sophomore from Metro Atlanta, College Park. Brian White got him out of bounds. First down, Arkansas State.
Nice job by the wide receivers out in front of Houston that time, getting really good blocks, getting good position on the defensive back, springing him down the sideline for a first down.
1st and 10. And a running play to Michael Gordon. A lot of power in that 5'8" body, sophomore from Mississippi. Last week had a 91-yard touchdown run.
This is the area of the field that Arkansas State must capitalize on. We've seen them drive down here a couple times already tonight. The drives are stall except for the time they got the field goal. Must convert.
Kennedy under pressure. Patience to his tight end Raines. Arkansas State, a completed pass to 7 different receivers in the first half.
Yeah, doing a nice job of mixing it up, throwing the football, spreading it around, not locking into any guys. But it feels like to me that Arkansas State has been great moving the football from 20 to 20, but they're stalling when they get down there. It's like Auburn's playing that bend, don't break type of defense, and they're coming up with some type of scheme down in the red zone to stall that Arkansas State offense.
13 of 16 in the air for Kennedy. And the Red Wolves 5 of 7 on third down conversions. Kennedy over the middle, and it's going to be caught down to the 24-yard line. And this one taken by Julian Jones. To the 25-yard line. It's going to be 4th down and 5. Chris Davis made the last tackle, and we'll see what Brian Harsin has up his sleeve. He went for it on 4th and 1 and was denied. A field goal would be around the 42-yard mark. So he's going to leave Brian Davis on the sideline and go for it.
Auburn walked up in the face of Arkansas State wide receivers right now, challenging them in man-to-man coverage. The football is going to have to come out of his hand quick if he doesn't call timeout.
And Arkansas State burns its final timeout of the half.
I think they were not expecting that look, Bob. I really do. I think they had a call on that was probably set for a zone defense, and Auburn came out in that tight man-to-man coverage, and they didn't have a play for it.
Brian Harsin taking over at age 36 at Arkansas State. One of the youngest head coaches in the country. Our Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff leaders shows Brian now at age 36. Is number 4 on the youngest head coaches list in FBS.
For a lot of talented young football coaches in college football. How about Cliff Kingsbury, what he was able to do at Texas A&M, now going back to his alma mater at Texas Tech. And those guys just so explosive. They bring these offenses in, these young guys. And, you know, I really think it helps them relate to the players, the age. I think the players really can relate to these guys. They become players, coaches, and they feel like they can bond with these younger coaches. And, you know, we're seeing it spread across college football right now.
And what a resume for Brian to work underneath Chris Peterson at Boise for 10 years, then 2 for Mack Brown. He was the man who was brought into Austin to completely retool that Longhorn offense. Now he's a head coach. 14-3. Fourth down for Kennedy. Looking. Cranks to the end zone. Incomplete. Auburn ball. Looking for McKissick.
Ellis fooled them. They showed a zone look before the snap, then they jump into man coverage. That's why Kennedy could not find anyone to throw the football to. He expected that zone again, and he tries to scramble out, extend the play. McKissick doing a nice job working on the back end of that end zone, trying to give him a receiver, trying to free some space and get open and give him someone to throw the football to. But Auburn sitting on those sticks. They know they only have to get 5 yards, and they were sitting on those wide receivers on the short routes.
8:01 to go before halftime. 14-3. Nick Marshall and the Tiger offense back on after the defense holds on 4th down for a second time. Mason jammed up, hit by some friendly fire and knocked down at the 27-yard line. Q Lee made the tackle. Redshirt junior. You'll see Mason coming out of the game. 3-yard gain for 2nd and 7. Artis Payne, the running back.
Here goes the chess match. Gus Malzahn checking from the sideline. John Thompson, the defensive coordinator, checking his defense as well.
And the run for Artis Payne. Tim, you might want to step our fans through that.
It's going to be something we're going to keep an eye on all game. Gus Malzahn and this Auburn offense, they're going to get to the ball, look to the sideline. Gus is going to try to call the best play versus what defensive look he sees. And defensive coordinator John Thompson for Arkansas State, he's going to try to counter that. They may check. He's going to show a check signal, or they may stay in it and try to confuse this Auburn offense and make them guess to what look they're running the football into.
And that is incomplete, nearly intercepted by Rocky Hayes.
And that's that touch again, partner. We talked about it. That's 2 times on the corner route. One time he missed the touchdown where he didn't put enough air in the football. This time he almost threw an interception because he didn't get enough air on the ball. He's open. The wide receiver is open. I think he's trying to work the ball into Sammy Coates again on the corner. But when you're going to throw that corner, it's got to go up and over. It cannot be flat like that because the flat defender, the corner in that case, can fall back underneath it and get a hand down it or pick it off, as he almost did in that case.
Arkansas State forcing a second straight Auburn punt. Stephen Clark boots it. This one angling toward the sideline. And great field position. It will be marked out of bounds at the 43-yard line. 6:41 left in the second.
Welcome back to Auburn, where they lead 14-3 in the second. Well, Tim Hudson has been missed in Atlanta, even though he's made a few visits, and we found him out at one of the tailgates. I actually asked him to join me on the sideline, but I'm not even mad because he's enjoying himself. The Hudsons obviously do so much for the Atlanta community and the Auburn community. But I talked to Tim this weekend. Last weekend, he got to be the honorary coach. So he got to call the first play, give the pep talk at the beginning of the game, and he said it was one of the best experiences of my life. We know that the Braves are missing Huddy, but when Atlanta is home, he always makes sure that he comes to visit, and they have missed him in that clubhouse. Bob?
There have been a lot of remarkable athletes that have come through the Plains over the years, but very few have combined athletic excellence like Tim Hudson with such a giving heart. He is a remarkable human being. War Eagle. 14-3. Auburn with 6:41 to play in the second. So that Auburn defense, Tim Couch, is right back on the field.
Right back on the field. A great job by Arkansas State's defense. Both times Arkansas State tried to go for it on fourth down and failed. Their defense comes out on the field and bails them out and gets a 3 and out and puts their offense right back out on the field.
Kennedy has had a lot of time to throw, and a great defensive play that time for the Tigers. Chris Davis got around and knocked that ball away, it appeared. 2nd and 10.
Looked like Chris Davis. J.D. McKissick was working on Chris Davis. He never sold the go route. He never backed Chris Davis up. He was running his route too high. He never dropped those hips and sold the go route and made Davis turn and run. That's why Davis was all over that route.
Fake. Handoff to Oku. Gets away. A flag is down. As Brian Harsin goes to his bag of tricks.
Well, they read that play last week for a touchdown with Oku. That time they tried again, but it looks like it's going to come back for, look like holding on Arkansas State.
Holding offense number 87. The penalty is 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, 2nd down.
Brian Harsin spent 10 years at Boise State, and he was the offensive coordinator when the Broncos pulled off that monumental upset over Oklahoma in the 2007 Fiesta Bowl, beat Oregon in 09. And you remember all the trickery at the end of that Fiesta Bowl game that got the Broncos the win. 14-3.
2nd and 20 here. You expect Arkansas State to come with a screen pass, something safe. Just try to get some of that penalty yardage back.
Screen. Oku down the sideline. Big gain. 1st down.
Or all of the penalty yardage back.
22-yard pickup. Well, another guy that you let him turn the corner, he can do some damage.
Oh, yeah, Oku doing a nice job. But how about the big guy? Stephen Honga, number 60. He gets out in open space, giving his guy Oku a chance to turn that corner. We thought we'd go with the screen to get some yardage back, but Oku turns it into a big one.
Another screen of the bubble variety. Jones takes it out of bounds. I've been waiting for the left guard to make a play because we just love saying his name.
He's fun to watch. He's got the hair flying out the back of the helmet, and well, they use him a lot in the power run game, and he's an athletic big man at 317 pounds.
Kennedy. Ooh, nice catch that time by Sir Gregory Thornton. Down to the 33, 1st and 10.
I'll tell you, Bob, I'm impressed with Adam Kennedy's mobility. You know, he's not a guy that's going to hurt you getting big plays down the field, but he's gotten a couple 1st downs running the football. That time he's extending plays when no one was open initially on the pass route, and he's able to go out and get himself a completion.
And Tim, you mentioned it early. Get confidence, and he got it right away.
He got it
and
right
it's
away.
blossoming.
That's exactly right. When you're a team like a Sun Belt team coming into an environment like this, success early is the best thing that can happen to you.
Oku got the handoff, and Gabe Wright was there to greet him. All 6'3", 300 of them.
Gabe Wright has played a good football game here tonight. We've called his name several times. He's playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage. He's been in the backfield of Arkansas State all night. He's missed a couple, but he's disruptive. He's been back there a couple times. They're going to have to find out a way to block number 90, Gabe Wright.
Oku. A big hole closed quickly. Gets positive yards to the 33. 3rd And about 9. And again, Gabe Wright in the middle of things up front for Auburn.
Some negative plays. They've hurt this Arkansas State offense. They've kept them behind the chains, especially on these third downs in this area of the field. The reason they're not converting them is they're having third and long situations. These are very, very difficult to convert in this area of the field.
Red Wolves are 5 of 8. Kennedy with all kinds of time. Penalty flag, and down he goes. 3:52 remaining.
Offense number 60. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
So 4th down. That's the first sack recorded by Auburn in this game. Paul Jones, another punter from Australia. They're everywhere. We had 2 in our game last week at Arkansas. Chris Davis is the deep man. I'm going to let this one go, and it's through the end zone for the touchback. 3:25 remaining in our second period. Auburn 14, Arkansas State 3. This week's Regions Bank SEC grade is Auburn co-offensive coordinator, wide receivers coach Damian Craig. The former quarterback is back on the Plains. Quarterback the Tigers from 94 to 97, holds numerous school records, including the high for single-season passing yards over 3,000 in 1996. He also led Auburn to a 10-win SEC West Division title in 97. They concluded with a win over Clemson in the Peach Bowl. There's Damian Craig to the left of that coach's row up front, and once a Tiger, always a Tiger. So now his offensive unit will come back out onto the field, led by Jonathan Wallace, the backup quarterback. 1st and 10 from the 20. Brandon Pulse is in the ball game. And the H-back, and a lead blocker on the handoff for Corey Grant. Auburn took the opening kickoff, went down the field and scored on a touchdown pass. Second drive ended in a Corey Grant 17-yard touchdown. Not much sense.
No, it looked like Auburn was just going to be able to score at will in this football game, but Arkansas State doing a nice job of adjusting their defensive game plan and getting a couple 3-and-outs.
Nick Marshall adjusting. Marshall gets a block on 2 blocks on the corner. First down Auburn at the 32.
Well, that play took forever to develop. I didn't think Nick Marshall was ever going to get to the corner of that defense, and it took a long time for those receivers to hold their block. But they did a good job. Number 89, Jalen Denson, and number 4, Quan Gray, of holding those blocks until Nick Marshall could get to them.
51 yards rushing for the Auburn quarterback. Coach this one. Caught. Sammy Coates. Touchdown.
Well, they know this secondary for Arkansas State, this Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley. They know who they can take a shot on in one-on-one coverage. That time they go after number 3, Rocky Hayes. You see him grabbing his hamstring there, may have pulled as he was chasing down Sammy Coates, but they get the one-on-one coverage on the outside. And that time, Nick Marshall did not overthrow or underthrow him. That ball was right on the money.
Cody Parkey with the PAT, and Auburn gets back on the board. Nick Marshall to Sammy Coates.
Sammy Coates working on number 3, Rocky Hayes. Rocky Hayes is a converted running back. He had over 500 yards rushing for Arkansas State last year. They just moved him over to defensive back, and he gets in that one-on-one situation with Sammy Coates, and you hope he's okay with that hamstring. Hopefully he can come back into the football game, but that's a tough spot to be with Sammy Coates and no safety help over the top.
We asked in the meetings yesterday, do you think you might go after Rocky Hayes since he's a converted running back, going to start at the corner?
Right.
Nothing was said. Just a quick raise of the eyebrow by Rhett Lashley.
Well, when you've worked with guys before in the past, as Gus and Red have at Arkansas State, you just understand guys, and you know what situations they don't feel comfortable in. And that time, Gus and Rhett were able to design a play to get one-on-one coverage on the outside with no safety help. They knew how Arkansas State would line up in it, and they knew they were going to have an opportunity to take that shot, and they did, and they did a nice job of execution on it as well.
Both quarterbacks are really doing a superb job here in the first half. Marshall now has 190 yards in total offense in the air. He's 7 of 11 for 139. Of the end zone for the touchback. The new college football show is back from the SEC to the Pac-12. Watch James Bates, the mild-mannered James Bates, and Coach Tommy Bowden every Thursday for in-depth coverage of the week's best matchups. You can catch the new college football show every Thursday at 7 on Fox Sports South. Sammy, you look good on that pitch and catch.
He sure did. I know Sammy was probably a little frustrated last week. They had the opportunity to hit a couple big ones, and Nick overthrew him a couple times. This time, they're able to get that timing down and connect for the touchdown, and they'll get better as the season goes on.
Oku knocked down and recovers at the 20. What a play by Chris Davis.
Chris Davis doing a nice job. We saw him break up a pass on the last drive in good coverage on Allen Muse. That time showing how physical he can be, coming up from his cornerback position, making a play in the backfield. Negative plays once again, though, partner. They're behind the chains again, looking at a 2nd and 15. Arkansas State cannot do that on 1st and 2nd down. They have to stay ahead of the chains.
Davis with 6 tackles so far in the first half. Kennedy flushed out. And 3rd and ultra long. Josh Holsey was there to deny him the corner.
And the problem here, Arkansas State, they have really taken no time off this clock. If this ball is incompleted, that's going to leave Auburn a lot of time left going into halftime if they so choose to go after a quick score before the break.
David Oku, what a job. Didn't get the first down, but a nice piece of running out to the 30. Auburn will take the timeout to get the ball back and salvage as much of that 135 as they can. Well, another opportunity for Gus Malzahn's offense, it appears.
I think it's going to be very important. Gus wants to see his young quarterback, Nick Marshall, in this situation. They got the nice lead. It's 21-3. They could obviously take a knee and go to halftime, but I think he really wants to see Nick Marshall in a 2-minute drill. You know, going forward, he's going to have to do this when they get into SEC play, and you can never have enough points. You know, you want to get as many as you can, keep that momentum going, go into halftime, whether they go down and they can get a field goal out of this drive or possibly even put it in the end zone. You want to see Nick Marshall and these wide receivers in this type of situation.
For Arkansas State, Luke Ferguson. This will be the second punt. Jones had the first one for 43. This is going to be Luke's first punt of the campaign. Davis from the 10. Penalty flag. To the 49-yard line. 59-yard punt. A tremendous return by Chris Davis.
Unfortunately for Chris Davis, it looks like it's going to be negated by a penalty, possibly a block in the back, and Auburn's going to start deep in their own territory. I wonder what this is going to do to Gus's decision to how he approaches this drive. If this is against Auburn and it backs him up, does it change? He thought he was going to have good field position. Now with the penalty, you're going to be backed up and only 1:16 left.
During the kick, holding, return team number 1. The foul occurred during the kick. The penalty will be enforced. Half the distance to go from the end of the kick. First down.
Well, you're right, Tim. Good call. That really changes the philosophy here with just 76 seconds left.
It does, because the last thing you want to have happen, especially in this area of the field, if you try to come out and throw the football from down here and you get a ball, whatever, tipped at the line of scrimmage, it's batted up in the air, and Arkansas State could catch that thing and run it in for a quick score, and all of a sudden momentum's flipped going into halftime. And Gus, I'm sure, does not want that. I would imagine that he plays this very, very safe with a 21-3 lead.
Fourth time the Tigers have been penalized. And it will go for a grand total of 30 yards. Half the distance here takes it back to the 6. So a big break for Arkansas State. Crosser there to lead block for Artis Payne. We sort of labeled him as a short yardage guy, but he's much more than that.
He is. He's absolutely much more than that. He's a complete back. He can get you those tough yards. We label him as in between the tackles type guy, but he has some speed and moves as well. You see he has tremendous vision, finding not much of a crease in that offensive line.
To the 19. 5'11", 210 out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. A junior college transfer, was regarded as the top junior college running back last season. Hancock out of California. Nick Marshall tiptoes his way out of bounds with 36 seconds. Ball spotted down at the 27. 2nd and 2. And just what you were talking about. The defender comes up and knocks it away. That's Eddie Porter. That one went harmlessly out of bounds, but just what you were saying, Tim, the mistakes that happen at this end of the field at the end of a half can be lethal.
They really can, and I think Gus feels a little more comfortable now that they were able to move the ball out of their own territory and try to throw a pass and take a shot down the field, maybe see if you can get in field goal range. But like you said, Bob, if that ball's tipped and it goes up in the air, you never know what can happen.
Mason breaks one tackle. First down Auburn to the 39-yard line. That stops him with 24 seconds. Hugh Lee made the tackle.
Got to be tough on a defense when Auburn's able to just rotate these 3 fresh backs at you just nonstop, and they're all powerful guys and fast guys. It's just got to be so tough on a defense.
It's spiking stops it at 20. A 21-3 Auburn lead. Just barking. They got third base coaches with signals. They've got signs. Scrambling. Wants to run. Penalty flag. To the 50. Clock stops now with 7 seconds.
Offense, number 73. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, 2nd down.
Well, Gus is not happy. Greg Robinson with the hold.
Left tackle Greg Robinson. You see him out here working. The hold is going to happen when he tries to break contain, right?
Yeah.
Big fella. It's that big white tape on his arm, too. The ref's going to see that easy, just grabbing that jersey, and as Nick Marshall tries to break contain.
You might want to go to the dark gray.
That's right.
That will be the half. So Auburn scores on its first 2 possessions. Then they come back and get the big pass play from Nick Marshall to Sammy Coates. And jog to the locker room, leading 21-3. Elizabeth with Coach Malzahn.
Coach, sort of a similar situation last weekend with Marshall, but he settled in. What'd you think?
Yeah, he made a big-time throw, and I'm really hoping that'll help, here in the future in the second half. Our defense played well. We missed opportunity there, at least, throw it up in the end zone.
That's my next question. Defense, much improved in that second quarter. What'd you see in that?
Yeah, I tell you what, that's a very good offensive team. And the defense, we really adjusted well because they got some weapons over there pretty scary.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bob?
Okay, Elizabeth, Gus Malzahn against the team that he coached just a year ago in his second game as Auburn's head man. 21-3 Tigers to the studio when we continue after this. Jordan-Hare Stadium, Auburn, Alabama, as we get set for the second half with the home team on top, 21-3. Bob Rathman, Tim Couch, Elizabeth Morrow back with you on SEC College Football Saturday. Let's take a look at our Husqvarna play of the high-powered. Here it is, our high-powered drive, and it is Nick Marshall. Scoring drive that Nick engineered, and this was the end of it, a 17-yard touchdown rush by Corey Grant.
I thought Nick did some good things with his legs early in the football game. He also did some good things with his arm. He made some big plays down the field. I thought they did a good job of starting him off in this game, letting him see the ball be completed, get it out of his hands quick, and then he settled in and he started getting the big plays down the field. Finds his wide receiver, Marcus Davis, over the middle for a touchdown on that one. And then this was the one that really impressed me, the deep throw that he had so much trouble with in the opener last week against Washington State. They're looking for a go-to guy, wide receiver. I think they may have found him in Sammy Coates. He's been big tonight.
Now a look at our Hyundai game summary. A lot of offense in this one, 282 yards for Auburn, and a big chunk of that belongs to the quarterback through passing and rushing. 200 yards and 43 snaps for Arkansas State. The Red Wolves, Tim, able to go between the 20s without much difficulty.
It hasn't really been an issue for them if they can move the ball against this Auburn Tigers defense. It's finishing drives. It's once they get down into that red zone, it seems like they have a negative play on first or second down. It's putting them behind the chains. It's really stopping a lot of really good drives and plays that they've been stringing together against this Auburn defense. They're going to have to finish drives in the second half. They want to get back in this football game.
Arkansas State deferred, and it is their choice. A lot on the plate of Brian Harsin. Let's go down to the field in Elizabeth.
Well, exactly what Tim said is what Coach said, that we have to create some turnovers, but eliminate those negative plays. They are killing us. But we also have to do a better job at establishing the first down and managing the second and third. No matter how well Adam Kennedy is playing, those struggles in the red zone are absolutely killing us, he said.
Cody Parkey will be kicking it away for Auburn. Kick comes to Jones. He'll run it out 15-20. And he is smacked down at the 25-yard line. Great play by McKenzie on special teams. Here's our charter high-speed hit.
So first start the second half with Jones. McKenzie tracking the whole way down the field, gets a good shot on him, good clean tackle. Big drive right here for Arkansas State. get the football coming out of the locker room at halftime, down 21-3. Let's see what adjustments they've made if they do make it down to the red zone to see if they can capitalize like Elizabeth told us.
Football marked back half the distance. There was a penalty, but I never saw a flag. There's some debris on the field near the Arkansas State sideline. And here we go, first down and 10 for the Red Wolves. Adam Kennedy is their quarterback. Throws to the near side, and it is complete at the 18-yard line to R.J. Fleming. Chris Davis made the tackle. Your impressions of Adam Kennedy in that first half?
Very impressed. I thought he has tremendous poise in the pocket. He knows exactly what he's doing. He understands what this Auburn defense is trying to do to him and where he needs to go with the football, and he's getting it there very accurately. A good job in the first half, and there you go again. First drive, he's completed 2 quick throws out to the flat. Drive starters, got a big first down there.
Griswold made the catch. Is it true in the third quarter as it is at the start of the game to establish that rhythm and tempo again?
I really think so. For a quarterback, I always like to start halves. First quarter of a game, the second half of the game, early in the third quarter with completions. It just settles you into the game. When you see the ball caught, you see a receiver turn and make a play for you. It's just a relaxing thing for a quarterback.
Kennedy keeps his feet, faked out a man, cuts back. 40, 50, and into Auburn territory.
Man,
a little ball fake, and he was gone.
I tell you, it's like the old NBA. You give the ball fake, and everyone goes for it, and you go around him with a crossover. But Adam Kennedy, what a great job! I did not know he had this mobility. Gives the pump fake. Number 5, Jake Holland, the middle linebacker, buys that. He gets him up in the air, and he goes lumbering that 6'5", 225-pound frame down the field for a nice gain.
At the old Harlem Globetrotters fit. One fake and 5 guys jump. That's a 26-yard carry. To the near side, and Fleming to the 40. As the Red Wolves seem renewed as they begin the third period.
It's a great...
And an injury, and that's Threese. To his feet, but now jogs to the sideline.
That's just a tough play to defend for Auburn's defense. You're wondering why the receiver was so wide open in the flat. They had a flood pass to that side of the field, which basically means 3 receivers in one area, and they just go high or low on it, and no one's out there to defend it.
The handoff comes up the middle to Sir Gregory Thornton. It'll be third down. We'll call it 2. Oku to the outside. First down in that zone. Dives to the 27. David Oku, great vision on that run.
And great strength to break the tackle. Number 9, Jermaine Whitehead, the safety, was in the backfield to stop that play. It would have been behind the line of scrimmage right there, but Oku able to get out of that tackle, make another guy miss, and get the corner for a first down to keep this drive alive.
Ryan Smith has come into the game in the Auburn secondary. Ellis Johnson getting pinned on the corner. This got a chance to go for some yards, and it's down to the 11-yard line for Freddie Knighton. 17-yard gain.
Well, they sneak Knighton into the game that time. And did you see the backfield, Bob? There was 4 guys lined up straight across the back of the formation, and they run a little inside reverse. They hand it off like they're going to run the counter play. Knighton comes around on an inside reverse, confused that Auburn defense. They're able to get the corner.
Well, Oku actually took the snap from center, and you could see Auburn was scrambling. Down to the 3-yard line. Boy, David Oku has been impressive tonight.
He is impressive. He's a good inside runner. He's a good outside runner. He can make you miss. He runs with power. He's got tremendous pad level. Watch how he finishes runs. He gets those pads down and he falls forward. I really like that, especially in this area of the field in the red zone. Fall forward. Those extra yards are crucial.
An old SEC player going up against an SEC defense. Oku has 49 rushing yards. Gets the direct snap and is yanked backwards by Chris Frost. Mr. Frost said we will have none of that.
Chris Frost is a very productive player for this Auburn defense. I think they probably feel more comfortable with him at that Mike linebacker position over Jake Holland as far as skill sets, but Holland is the guy that lines this defense up. He's the leader and getting kind of the quarterback of that defense. Chris Frost a little bit behind in that area, but certainly not in athleticism.
Big play here, 3rd down and 2. They need to get to about the 2 for another 1st down. Oku takes it, and Auburn keys on him and stops him at the 5, and Frost is right there again.
Just like we talked about, same as the first half. They have no problem moving that football down the field. They get in the red zone, and they get down inside the 5-yard line this time, and they still can't punch it in. Watch Chris Frost, number 17, again, fighting off a block, playing in the backfield. That's also, I believe, number 90, Gabe Wright, who we talked about in the first half, playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage. That Auburn defense getting a lot of penetration against that Arkansas State offensive line.
21-yard attempt by Brian Davis. And he punches it right through, good for his 2nd field goal of the game. And Arkansas State adds 3. That makes it a 21-6 game with 9:58 to go in the 3rd. SEC College Football is brought to you in part by Husqvarna, the world's largest producer of outdoor power equipment. Visit Husqvarna.com. 1, 2, 3 Heisman trophies. Messrs. Sullivan, Jackson, and Newton. After the field goal. There's Big Bo.
One of my all-time favorite players. We got a chance in the facility, touring the facility after we talked to the coaches yesterday, Bob, to go see Bo's Heisman over there, and it's just, boy, it's something to see. Just a guy of his caliber that's been probably one of the top 3 or 4 greatest players in the history of the SEC. Just a phenomenal football player.
And a phenomenal baseball player.
He was. Bo knows.
And finally, Juan Bray will take a knee. Here's how Auburn has done their drive chart. 2 quick touchdowns. But time of possession has been interesting tonight. Arkansas State has dominated. They've had the football for over 23 minutes, and Auburn has had it for just 11 and a half.
Right. Auburn had the 2 3-and-outs where they had the quick turnover and get off the field, and then the scoring drive where they went 80 yards. It was only a 3-play drive, so time of possession has been very much in favor of Arkansas State.
So Nick Marshall at quarterback. And the handoff, Grant. Arkansas State does a good job as Grant delivers a late blow. They did a good job of getting to that corner.
You're exactly right, and that's what you have to do with a guy with the type of speed that Corey Grant possesses. You can't let him turn the corner. You have to continue to string it out, use the sideline as that 13th defender and force him out of bounds.
Still a gain 4 yards. 2nd and 6. Chess match continues. Fake the belly, Marshall in trouble, and down he goes at the 22. And just to refresh, Gus Malzahn, head coach at Arkansas State last year, his defensive coordinator stayed behind John Thompson.
A veteran defensive coordinator in that. John Thompson has been around the block in the SEC. He's been a defensive coordinator at Ole Miss, Florida, Arkansas, South Carolina, LSU. He understands this conference and what it takes to defend these offenses.
There was a linebacker coach at Alabama once upon a time. Marshall drops it. Arkansas State's got it at the 16. Artez Brown, the junior corner, saw that pigskin and pounced on it. And that's the first turnover of the game, and it's a big one.
And look at the momentum on the Arkansas State sideline. This is exactly what they needed to have happen, a turnover, especially in this area of the field. Nick Marshall, not even stripped of the football. He just drops it as he's trying to tuck it and run. It was great coverage in the secondary from Arkansas State. Nick Marshall can't find anyone to throw the football to as he's tucking it and trying to make a play. He drops that football. Artez Brown is the man on the spot and sets his offense up in tremendous position. Question is, can they do anything with it?
They have had their problems in the red zone, but they get to start the drive here from the 17. And the penalty flag.
It's like they want them to reset the play clock.
Prior to their expiration of the play clock, timeout, Arkansas State. First timeout this half.
Arkansas State is complaining, Brian Harsin, the head coach, and also the quarterback, Adam Kennedy, that the play clock should have been reset a little bit, and that's why they had to take the timeout.
So now the play clock shows 25. And they have to burn a precious second half timeout early in the third quarter.
And that could be big. You never know. This game is far from over. If Arkansas State can punch a couple in the end zone and get back in this game, that timeout can come up big towards the end of the fourth quarter.
Well, Brian Harsin. You know, we talk about all the turnover at Arkansas State with 4 head coaches in 4 years. When Brian Harsin was a quarterback at Boise, 4 head coaches in 4 years. So you can survive and thrive. And Arkansas State is used to winning. We asked Brian and his staff, how do the guys handle all this turnover? They like winning. This ball club has done a lot of that with Hugh Freeze and Gus Malzahn. Franklin throws it short. Intended receiver was Griswold, tight end. Second down.
That time Arkansas State comes out in a 3 tight end set, obviously a run formation, trying to get Auburn to load that box up. They go with a pass play, but Hosley, the safety, right there on the spot to force the errant throw from Kennedy.
Flag. Freddie Knighton in the
legal substitution offense, 12 players in the formation, 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
More red zone difficulty as we check in with Elizabeth.
Well, you guys mentioned the resiliency of this team. We asked Gus Malzahn the same exact question about that Arkansas State team, and he said what Bob said, that when you get used to winning like you have in the last 2 years, there's nothing better than that. You're expecting to win. He said, that's what I'm trying to do here at Auburn, trying to get back that where it used to be.
Second down now, and in that backfield, here come the Tigers. Boy, what great pressure that time. As breaking through for Auburn.
Justin Delaney, number 52.
Yeah, Delaney comes crashing in, almost unchecked.
He tried to get the corner on him. He did a good job of containing.
The junior from Linden, Alabama, making a huge play to make it 3rd and 21.
Red zone issues again. Now they're forced to a 3rd and 21 situation. Try to get a little bit back. You don't have to force it. You just want to get a little bit better spot for your field goal kicker.
Kennedy dumps it off. 0-2 in space. Bumped down at the 25. This will be about a 42-yard attempt. The referee has dropped a flag on the sideline, and now they huddle.
There is no foul for an eligible receiver downfield. The pass did not cross the neutral zone. Therefore, there is no foul. 4th down.
What they're saying there, that they thought an ineligible man was down the field. They thought an offensive lineman was down the field, but the pass was behind the neutral zone, so it was allowed, and that's why they picked up the flag.
42-yard attempt for Brian Davis. And this one is good. third field goal tonight. Brian Harsin approves. 21-9 Auburn.
SEC College Football is presented by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
A lot of history in this old lady. 21-9. Auburn leads it with 7:53 to play in the third quarter. Our direct auto insurance coverage focuses on the Auburn D and what they've been able to do close to that goal line. They have come up with some huge plays to keep Arkansas State out of the end zone.
I can't imagine how frustrated that Arkansas State is that they've been able to get down there so many times, and they would be right in this football game, if not leading the football game. Their defense is playing really well. They've created a turnover. They've forced Auburn to a few 3-and-outs, and the Arkansas State offense has moved the ball. They just can't capitalize and put it in the end zone.
Last time Arkansas State got that fumble, they had a penalty, they had a loss of 6, and they had to burn a timeout. So a lot of problems in the red zone. After the touchback, Auburn will get it down at the 25-yard line. And we've got 7:53 remaining in our third period. So the head coach of the Tigers, Gus Malzahn, he working in concert with his offensive coordinator, Brett Lashley. A tandem that has been together through the years. And we mean from when Brett Lashley was in high school. Now on the big stage of the SEC with this Auburn offense, and it's Artis Payne. I read an apt description of the Gus Malzahn offense. It's a no-huddle, hurry-up, power eye.
That's what it is. It's a 57% run. Gus was at Arkansas State last year. I think he'll be even more than that at Auburn this year.
Corey Grant. Good effort after the hit. Auburn first down at the 37.
He gets to that corner quick, doesn't he?
Yes, sir. As you mentioned earlier, a former track star, the two-time Alabama 6A 100-meter champ. He is impressive. Grant slides down that line. Stiff arm. Driven down at the 39-yard line. Good activity by Andrew Tryon out of that Arkansas State secondary. Back in the lineup after missing the Pine Bluff game. And there is young Mr. Lashley, who was with Gus at Arkansas State, at Arkansas in high school prior to that. Thought he had blown his chance to be a big-time college assistant when he did not follow Gus to Tulsa. And down goes Corey Grant. So Arkansas State coming up with some big defensive plays, and Kyle Coleman, the author of the last stop. There's no question, Tim, Arkansas State has had their opportunities.
They have. The defense has played extremely well here tonight, and I thought that it was going to be a tough night for them the way Auburn started this game, but they've made the adjustments, the proper adjustments, and they figured out what Auburn's trying to do offensively.
And they hold them on 3rd and long, and the pass incomplete. A rocket headed towards C.J. Uzoma. Incomplete. Punt coming.
Can't miss those throws if you're Nick Marshall. Uzoma wide open in the middle of that Arkansas State defense. They bring the blitz right in the face of Marshall. Sometimes as a quarterback, you have to stand in there. You see the room he has to throw the ball. The ball just sails on him. If anything, across the middle, miss low. You never want to miss high because there's safeties behind your receiver. It could be an interception, and the receiver's never going to go up and make that play. You have to put it on his chest and let him go in and keep him on the run so he can run after the catch.
Fleming will make the fair catch at the 24-yard line of the Stephen Clark punt. 5:40 left, third quarter, 21-9 Auburn.
Coors Light says don't get flagged for breaking the law. It's a cold, hard fact. 21 means 21. So keep yourself and your friends in the game.
SEC College Football is brought to you in part by Toyota, Crystal, Regions Bank, and Frost Brewed Coors Light.
A rather poor start offensively for Auburn here in this third quarter. Only 6 yards and 2 possessions, a turnover. Now Arkansas State gets it back. And you just get the feeling, Tim, that their confidence is growing. You've mentioned the fact that between the 20s, they've been able to chew up the yards. Kennedy throws. This one's bobbled and incomplete. Adam Kennedy has had a solid game. You know, he was at Utah State, and in that 2011 season that we referenced earlier, he had to become the starting quarterback when Chucky Keaton got injured. And down the stretch for Utah State, he went 3-0 on the road. One at Utah State, one at Hawaii, one at Idaho, and then one at New Mexico State. Can he make it 4-0 on the road as a starting quarterback and beat Auburn in Jordan Hare? They've got a chance. Kennedy wrapped up at the 25-yard line by Ladarius Owens, the junior from Bessemer.
Good pressure up front by that Auburn defense. Ladarius Owens just stays with it. Good coverage in the secondary. Adam Kennedy tries to escape the pocket, does not see Ladarius Owens coming, takes a big shot.
3rd and 9. Kennedy with pressure at the middle, escapes, but not the second wave. Owens again coming up big. And he was fighting for his life, and Kennedy sacked back at the 11.
They run a little game on that defensive line at Auburn. They run the ends inside, the tackles go outside. It creates a little bit of confusion in that Arkansas State offensive line, and they're able to get home to Kennedy.
Fun coming. Ferguson to kick it. This one will angle away from Davis and out of bounds, and Auburn will have outstanding field position with 4:08 to play in the third quarter. Well, the Tigers take over as we check in with Elizabeth.
Oh, well, Bob, SEC fans, I know you want more Tim Couch and James Bates on your TV. I know that Bob does every Wednesday night. Join us for SEC Gridiron Live at 10 Eastern on Fox Sports South. We're going to talk about the Georgia-South Carolina game, and we are also going to do a lot of talking about the big Alabama at Texas A&M. That's every Wednesday night at 10. SEC Gridiron Live. Bob?
Johnny Manziel had over 320 yards at halftime for A&M tonight in their game against Sam Houston State. Yes, the eyes of the college football world will be on College Station next Saturday night. Meanwhile, on the Plains, pass to the outside, and this is going to be Reed making his second catch of the night. Rough start for Nick Marshall in the first 2 drives, trying to make amends with this third Auburn possession. Ray Mason. To the 36.
Auburn picking up the tempo now. They want to go fast. It seems like they have the Arkansas State defensive line kind of tired right now.
Mason waits. To the outside. Russell down at the 7. Penalty flag back upfield. Against the Tigers, it appears.
Holding, offense, number 73. The penalty is 10 yards. He was following the foul. Complete first down.
Greg Robinson's having some problems.
Gus Malzahn doesn't like it. Greg Robinson getting called for holding again. I think that's his second one on the day. Trey Mason can't believe it. He had the big run. And it just seems like to me, Bob, that every time that Auburn does something where they start to get a little bit of momentum, it's something to take the wind right out of their sails. A penalty, they get the turnover, whatever it may be, but they just can't seem to establish any type of rhythm offensively, especially here in the second half.
First down 11. Sixth penalty against the Tigers for 51. First and 11. That wiped out a 29-yard gain. Nice stepping over the 30 to the 28.
The Auburn offensive line getting a lot of movement up front right now against Arkansas State's defensive line. They're pushing them off the ball. Arkansas State was able, when they were fresh, to get back in the backfield, create some penetration in that Auburn backfield. But right now, they're getting blown off the ball.
Hard as pain. He looks like the lead boulder in an avalanche. First down, Tigers at the 20.
Great job by the center, Reese Dismukes, getting that block, getting up on the second level, getting the linebackers and opening a little bit of seam for Cameron Artis-Payne.
71 yards on 8 carries. Auburn clicking on this possession. Artis-Payne, hard to bring down, but finally corralled at the 17. And the clock continues to tick as we approach 2 minutes.
Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley, they understand that Arkansas State defense is tired as well. They're going to continue to run this football. I'd be surprised if they throw another pass down here in the red zone. They're getting 5-6 yards a carry every time they run it.
Personnel changes. Mason and Grant come in. Mason, yards after that initial contact to the 10. A junior from Lake Worth, Florida. Over 1,000 yards last year in that sophomore campaign. One of the few bright spots in a dismal Auburn season. Now, Mason dives in. Touchdown. Taking over at near midfield. The Tigers just driving right down Arkansas State's throat. And Trey Mason getting some pointers from Rhett Lashley with the 10-yard touchdown run. And Cody Parkey, who had another extra point.
I think the 3-and-out by Arkansas State's offense and forcing their defense to come right back out on the field played a big part in what Auburn did on this drive, just being able to run the football right down the throat of that defense. They almost had Trey Mason in the backfield, but he's so elusive. We talked at the top of the show. He's the slasher out on the edge. He can make you miss in open field. He's very powerful in his lower body. You can't arm tackle him. He runs through those type of tackles, and he's able to finish for a big touchdown for Auburn.
The football world began to notice Gus Malzahn when he was a high school coach in Arkansas. In fact, went into the Arkansas High School Coaches Hall of Fame. And a young man in his school named Rhett Lashley was his quarterback at Shiloh Christian. They were reunited on the Arkansas coaching staff, and you see them in the coaching staff team picture back in 2006. On the 10 Auburn staff, the team that won the national championship, Rhett was a GA. Then they were together, of course, last year at Arkansas State. Lashley, as the years go by, he gets closer and closer to his head coach. Elizabeth, you have more on this one.
Well, we asked any similarities between 2013 and way back in 9th grade. Lashley said 3 things. Base offense is still pretty similar. Obviously, it has grown a ton. He said coach is the exact same way on the sideline, completely intense, and he's still incredibly detailed. He was the same way in the 9th grade. If you were supposed to line up on that receiver's back foot and you were 4 inches off, you were not right. And that's what makes Malzahn so good.
J.D. McKissick. The loot. He made the wrong call there. Could only get out to the 11-yard line. And Malzahn and Lashley are funny. We were talking with Red yesterday. It's like Gus will start a sentence and Red will complete it.
That's when you know you've been together a long time.
And what a partnership. Great young offensive minds in our game.
Really are, and he's one of the brightest. Lashley, a very bright future ahead of him, and in the coaching ranks, he does a great job with that offense, and probably one day will be a head coach.
Adam Kennedy. Nearly intercepted. That one's incomplete. And a penalty flag. Ryan White almost got that one. And it's a hold against the Red Wolves. This was such a very big drive. It started with a bad decision by McKissick, and it's getting worse.
Offense number 19. Penalty is declined. Second down.
I mean, you appreciate the fact that J.D.'s aggressive and wants to make a big play because he's got that capability. But sometimes discretion is the better part of valor.
It is. You have to pick and choose your times, and offensively for Arkansas State, they have to quit hurting themselves with penalties.
Kennedy. Auburn blows up the screen. It's a loss back to the 8. Boy, give Ellis Johnson credit. He's tinkered and tinkered and tinkered, and now he's got him on the run.
It's impressive what they've been able to do. We've talked all night about how they've been able to move the football, Arkansas State, against this Auburn defense in between the 20s. They've played that bend, not break defense Ellis Johnson's defense has all night. And here in the second half, they're turning up the heat. They're getting in the backfield. They're hitting Adam Kennedy. They're locked up on these wide receivers, not allowing them to get any space.
Kennedy flushed. Soft toss. 35 to the 38 and a flag. Back at the goal line. Maybe a late hit. Kennedy was slow to get to his feet.
Roughing the passer and targeting above the shoulders to a defenseless player, number 17 of the defense.
Oh, no,
penalty is 15 yards.
Frost.
By rule, number 17 is disqualified from the game.
So a targeting foul on Chris Frost, and that means he'll miss the first half of Mississippi State next week.
And that's big. That's big. He's played an outstanding game. Let's take a look and see if we can see the targeting. 17, Chris Frost going after the quarterback, Adam Kennedy. The launch, and absolutely he goes above the shoulders.
That's a
with
textbook target.
That is textbook targeting. The fans do not like it, but it's the launch, Bob. You see him go down. He squats. He launches up into the head area of the quarterback. That is targeting. That is the play they're taking out of the game, and you just can't do it. You have to adjust your launch point. You have to go low. You cannot hit above the shoulders anymore with a forearm, a helmet, whatever it may be. That is targeting.
So Kenny Williamson has made his call, and that is going to have a ripple effect as Auburn begins its SEC play next week.
Yeah, he does.
Freddie Knighton to the Auburn 45-yard line. Boy, another Auburn penalty. That's 7 for 66 yards. Gain of 3. Second down and 7. And that will be the end of the third period. 15 minutes to play on the Plains. Auburn 28, Arkansas State 9.
SEC College Football is brought to you in part by Ford, CPI Security, and Direct Auto.
Game number 2 for Auburn with an interesting twist. Facing Arkansas State, the team that Gus Malzahn left to take over the Tiger program. Over 200 yards on the ground, but misfortune late in the third quarter when Chris Frost was ejected from this game. 28-9 as we go to the fourth period, and Chris Frost a part of the targeting rule. The targeting rule has not changed, but what's changed this year is this part of it, the ejection, which will have a ripple effect into next week. The launch and the hit above the shoulders. And that cost Chris Frost, and it will cost his team next week.
It sure will. They're thin at that position anyway, at the linebacker position. Not a lot of experience, so that will cost them.
Well, the start of the fourth quarter, and a completion to Julian Jones. The defenseless opponent. The 15-yard penalty is the same as last year, but this year the ejection is added, and it is reviewed. It stood, of course, and Frost was ejected. So the second half ejection lasts through the first half of the SEC opener for Gus Malzahn and the Tigers here against Mississippi State next Saturday. McKissick taken down to 33 and another flag.
McKissick, there's a flag.
Illegal formation. Offense. More than 4 players lined up in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
Well, Brian Harsin pleads his case, but on deaf ears. 28-9 Auburn. Kennedy is quarterback, 24 for 32, 227 yards. But they just suffered a 5th penalty. It's cost them 48.
Third down 6.
Red Wolves trying to stay in this game. A conversion here would help big time. Tipped and incomplete off the hand of Derek Griswold. 4th down. And another flag. This one at the line of scrimmage. Or just behind it.
Holding. Offense, number 60. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
There goes Griswold, the tight end. He's going to come across the formation and try to work, across the formation this way. He's going to try to work as they clear out the route. He's wide open on the play. It would have been an easy first down for Arkansas State. As you can see, there's just nothing but green grass, but the pressure in the face of Adam Kennedy forced the high throw.
Paul Jones. Juan Bray is deep. 14:05, 4th period. Auburn in control, and they'll get the football back. Over the head of Bray, and the touchback. 13:58 remaining. Arkansas State will call on its defense to get the ball back, trailing 19. We'll look at our Crystal game summary. Arkansas State's quarterback Adam Kennedy with the 24 for 33 night, 218 yards. His counterpart Nick Marshall, 8 of 14. But keep in mind, 68 of the 146 came on the touchdown bomb to Sammy Coates. This 3-headed monster that they've got running the football with their numbers tonight. Great productivity once again. Mason and Grant with rushing touchdowns. Corey's came way back in the first quarter. And more yards for Cameron Artis-Payne. He grew up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the 3rd of 11 boys. You think they had many fights?
I'm sure they did.
He said they fought over everything. I'll get your football tough. Grant. Hit from behind. Planted at the 28. A big hit by Chris Odom. True freshman, backup defensive end from Arlington, Texas.
That's just great effort by Chris Odom that time. He was actually the defensive end on the other side of that play. They go sweep and get the edge away from him, and he chases that thing all the way down and gets a big hit on the running back.
for him downfield. Out of bounds. And out of bounds back upfield at the 43-yard line. Oh, look at Nick Marshall get out there and lead the convoy.
I like this play design. Watch the end get up the field right here. That's exactly what they want to do. And they slip the draw in right underneath him. And from that point on, it's just Trey Mason using that speed and Nick Marshall hustling down the field, trying to throw a block anyway. I like that.
You used to do that all the time. Artis Payne bangs to the 30. Did you used to do that, Tim? Get out there and lead that convoy down?
I always wanted to. I just could never catch the running back. Nick has a little more speed than I do. He can get out in front of that thing. I was always chasing from behind in case they cut it back.
You're cheering him on.
That's right.
Payne grinds it to the 27-yard line as we come down to the 12-minute mark of the fourth quarter.
Vikings 3, second down 7.
A peek to the sideline. Look at the sandwich board.
I think they like what they see in the Arkansas State defensive secondary here. They may take a shot.
Single safety back there. And where will they mark this? Very close as Auburn looks to pick up the first down. Chris Humes finally made the tackle. It'll be third down.
Third down 1.
It's either Rick Ross or the Hulk again. Here we go. We'll see which one.
I'm going to the Hulk.
I think it's Hulk time. Give it to Artis Payne.
And he's got the first down. To the 19. Very impressive in short yardage situations. He is hard to bring down.
Yes, he is. Well, they struggled in that area last week. They missed 2 of those opportunities, and Gus Malzahn told us it was only one guy in that offensive line missing his assignment. Obviously, they've cleaned that up here tonight.
Payne 71 yards tonight after 50. Last week, 52 to be exact. Nothing happening here. Dexter Blackman is on the bottom of that pile, stopping Artis Payne. Mason, his teammate, has hit the 100-yard plateau after 73 in the opener. I think that defensive key is the personnel grouping for Auburn. The flick and complete. So Jay Frosch coming over to make the grab. Catch some passes.
He's a very versatile fullback. You see that time, normally they bring him in when he's lined out up wide like that. They bring him into the backfield and they run the football right behind Prosch. That time, a little tendency breaker from Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley. In this offense, they go with the bootleg and slip it out into the flat to Prosch for an easy completion.
Prosch lined up in the slot, 5 wides for Auburn. Oh, what a hit. Good job by Ricardo Lewis to hang on to the football, but Andrew Tryon is going to come off, and he's hurting.
You have to have a lot of trust in your fellow wide receivers. When you throw that football out there, number 1, Trovon Reed is supposed to get that block for his guy, and it doesn't happen. He misses, and it's a free shot on the wide receiver, and you see Tryon goes low. That's one of those opportunities. If he goes high right there, you get the targeting rule. This is what you're going to see. Guys are going to start diving at people's knees. You maybe see some more knee injuries and those type things, but you just can't go high anymore, and that's a good job by Tryon.
So a field goal try by Cody Parkey of 35 yards. And it is good. And Auburn tacks on 3 more. Parkey with his 4th field goal. 5 opportunities this season. 31-9 Auburn. We have chronicled tonight how Auburn gets these plays in. They have the sandwich board. They have coaches on the sideline relaying signals. The coaches making signals. You may wonder how we do it in the booth. We also have a sandwich board that we use to know who's going to go next.
I really do think this is you right here. The juggernaut behind that mask, it just looks like your eyes right there, you know?
Yeah. There you can see. There's the.
I think that's you, partner.
Yeah. And we have this in close proximity, and I think it works. It's a great system.
It works great. Yeah, so far so good.
Yes.
Wonder what play Elizabeth is on there. Is that the what do you think? What do you think her play would be?
She's the one that's got the speed because she's on the sideline.
That's right. Yeah. The go deep, deep ball. Down to the end zone. So Auburn now, Tim, in control with 8:46 to play. Arkansas State coming back out. And they have a quick turnaround. They jump into conference play against Troy on a Thursday night game next week. And they are staring at defeat for the first time in 10 games. They brought the nation's second longest winning streak to the stadium tonight. Ohio State won today. They've got the longest at 14 in a row. Pressure by Holland. And the pass is complete. Near midfield to tight end Kenneth Raines. Continue to be impressed by Adam Kennedy's mobility. That's the worst thing that can happen for a quarterback is pressure in the A-gap right up the middle. And Jake Holland, the middle linebacker, was on him before he could even do anything. He's able to sidestep him, get outside the pocket, and find an easy completion and a big gain to Raines.
And down goes Oku. Once again, Alexander coming up to make the hit for Auburn. It'll be 2nd down and 11. Zoku comes off. Kennedy incomplete, going from McKissick over the middle.
The pass is incomplete.
8 minutes remaining. Oku's carried the ball 16 times tonight, 5 here in this second half, and a grand total of 48 yards. He has been a workhorse, and you could just tell by the look of his uniform, he's laid it all out there tonight. Kennedy sets the screen, and it is Michael Gordon to carry the football.
Number 34, Michael Gordon.
Near the 42-yard line, shy of the first down.
Montravius Adams, the freshman, they think highly of him. He's got a big future ahead of him here at Auburn. He was in that backfield really quick. They were setting up the screen, was Arkansas State that time, but the offensive line has to get a hand on those defensive linemen. They can't just let them go free. They almost got to Adam Kennedy before he was able to deliver that screen.
Third time Arkansas State has gone for it, and they'll pick it up on a penalty. Gabe Wright blew through there. He claims there was movement. And they are going to call it on Arkansas State.
Ball start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. It remains 4th down.
Got the center, Bryce Giddens, that time. Not sure if he moved the football, maybe flinched a little bit, and that's what forced big Gabe Wright to jump.
I got it, Coach.
Don't worry about this.
Doing.
Yeah. Take a look at the center right there in the middle of your screen. He flinched.
Oh, yeah.
Body movement. He was trying to draw him off sides. He was using the head count like the quarterback does. The center not really allowed to do that. That's on the quarterback to do the hard cadence and the head count, trying to draw him off sides. As a center, they have to sit still.
Stephen Hunger, what was that? What happened? Nothing there. And Auburn will take over on down. 7:01 remaining. Tigers 31-9. Good times on the Plains. 31-9. Auburn leads Arkansas State with 7:01 to go in our fourth period. We saw Auburn score in their first two drives of the night. Busted out to a 14-3 lead. Then they got bogged down. Arkansas State had a ton of chances, but Auburn has salted it away here in the second half. Our cold hard facts brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Nick Marshall's week 1 to week 2. Tim, you've had a chance to see him now live. Your impressions?
I think he improved from week 1 to week 2. I think he made some good throws tonight. He's missed some throws, and they're going to continue to work on that, work on his accuracy. The thing that gets away from him is the high throws, and those are going to really, really hurt Nick Marshall in this Auburn offense when they get into SEC play against some better defenses. Those high throws across the middle, he's going to have to eliminate those from his game. But overall, I think he's played well. He's used his legs really well tonight in the run game. He's made some plays. He's thrown some good balls. He hit the big deep ball to Coach. So I think overall it's a positive game for him and something to build on moving forward.
Nick Marshall giving it to Mason. He lost a yard, so that takes Trey 99. Needs to get his 100-yard night back. No game. You know, breaking in a new quarterback is nothing new for Gus Malzahn. An interesting note we came across this week. No matter where he's been, that new year, he has broken in a different quarterback 8 consecutive seasons.
Isn't that unbelievable? But he told us that Nick is actually the first quarterback that he's had that didn't get a chance to go through spring ball with him. And that's such a big deal. You just lose those reps, and you lose that, getting that opportunity to get timing with your wide receivers and a good feel for the offense. So Nick Marshall is still catching up. He's playing to catch up with this offense, but a nice improvement from week 1 and 2. And we'll see him grow as the season continues.
Third and 11. A deep ball. It's going to be incomplete. No flag. Boy, it looked for all the world that Ricardo Lewis was taken down before that ball got there.
It was Tryon.
Maybe not.
It was 24 Andrew Tryon. It sure looked like he got there early. Here they are fighting for position. He's got the right hand on the shoulder. That's pass interference all day long. I'm not sure how they don't call that. You can't put the hand on the back of the receiver and pull like that and extend with the other hand. So that's textbook pass interference.
And this one will go into the end zone. So Arkansas State will get the football back with 5 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in our fourth quarter. A 3 and out for Auburn, and Stephen Clark with another outstanding punt. Well, we talked about the Auburn schedule. They kick it off into SEC play next week as they take on Mississippi State, and they will do it without one of their linebackers, Chris Frost, who really was playing a great game before ejected for targeting in this second half. He'll be eligible to play in the second half of the game next week. And then it's on to LSU, Ole Miss. So 3 straight SEC battles to come. This year, they go to Tennessee as the Volunteers rotate in. Georgia as opponents from the east.
Touchdown, baby!
And out of bounds at the 30-yard line goes McKissick. Adam Kennedy has gone the distance tonight, except for the package, of course, that Knighton was pre-planned that he would go into that Wildcat. And I think Adam Kennedy has turned in an outstanding game. Yes, they'd like to obviously have those red zone opportunities back to work on, but overall, I thought Kennedy, after we tried to get a feel on him last week, they didn't do much against Pine Bluff in terms of the passing game, and they just overpowered them. But tonight, you know, on the road against an SEC team, 27-38.
Efficient, very efficient with the football. Like you said, I think he did a great job of making the decisions, moving his team every time he got in. This right here, scrambling around, showing more mobility than I thought he had. And I don't know if Brian Harsin knew that he had that type of mobility. If he did, he didn't tell us that he could move around like that. But he certainly possesses all the things you look for in a quarterback.
So they go from Ryan Applin to this 1 year of Adam Kennedy. And as we mentioned, right back in it, playing Troy Thursday. Then Arkansas State comes back on the road at Memphis. Okay. Fumble. Collins on it. Auburn football. Kennedy never saw Carl Lawson coming.
That's the freshman they're so high on, defensive end Carl Lawson, one of the top recruits in the country, just working out here on the outside against the tackle. He beats him with speed around the corner, just not able to get out there. Aaron Williams, the big left tackle, number 67, just can't keep up with the speed of Carl Lawson at 260 pounds. He's really quick coming off that edge, and he got to Adam Kennedy, and not only did he get the sack, he forced the fumble as well.
Arkansas State makes it into the late stages of the fourth quarter before they suffer a turnover.
They're really excited about those defensive linemen at Auburn, those freshmen, Montravius Adams, Carl Lawson, who we saw on the sack right there. Those guys are going to be special players before they leave Auburn.
Artis Payne. Opponent's 40-yard line. Carl Lawson out of Milton High School. Terrific prospect. Ben Bradley's got a lot of playing time tonight. Bright future for those young men. Artis Payne on the inside to the 38 as the clock winds down to the 4-minute mark. Big win for Georgia today in the SEC. That, of course, the game that captured everybody's attention. Knocking off South Carolina 41-30.
Huge win, and you have to be happy for Aaron Murray and Mark Richt. They take so much heat when Georgia loses, especially Aaron Murray. They say he can't win the big game. He loses a tough one on the road at Clemson in week 1, and he's able to come back home and get a huge victory over South Carolina, and they get an upper leg in the East.
Jonathan Wallace out of bounds at the 33. Close to the first down. It'll be 3rd and 1. And Artis Payne once again as the clock continues to roll. Short of the first down, it appears, so 4th. About a yard. Auburn will go for it. Jonathan Wallace, who is Arkansas State's J.D. McKissick's high school teammate. It took 2 men to bring the juggernaut down.
Juggernaut. Look at those arms. He looks like the juggernaut. He's a good football player. I like how they use him in this offense. You know, they're not just using him as a blocker. They will use him in the pass game, and he's not going out of bounds. When he catches the football on the flat, he's looking for contact.
Crush is inheriting that Eric Smith role here at Auburn, but as Gus was telling us yesterday, yeah, Eric Smith is a runner and Philip Lutzenkirchen is a receiver.
Right. He's kind of a mixture between the two guys, and he's able to do all things really well. Gus Malzahn really high on Crush, and all this group of running backs. We've talked so much about Trey Mason and Cameron Artis Payne and Corey Grant, and they've been on display here tonight.
Artis Payne. Touchdown. Pickup. He's got his first touchdown as a Tiger. perfect. 38-9 Auburn with 1:43 remaining.
A nice opportunity for Auburn to get some of their backup offensive linemen in the game. 56, Avery Young is in there at right tackle, getting a nice block, springing Artis Payne to the edge of that Arkansas State defense. Here comes big number 63 pulling around the edge. That's Alex Cozen. He's one of the starters. He's still in the football game, but a nice job of finishing that drive. Jonathan Wallace did a good job of running the offense, coming in place of Nick Marshall, throwing the football in the flat, getting the team in the right plays at the line of scrimmage, and into the football into the hands of the guys who know what to do with it, like Cameron Artis Payne.
300 rushing yards for Auburn, topping the total that they had a week ago, 297. And they've exceeded their point total. They had 31 against Washington State. Cameron Artis Payne, he eclipses the 100-yard mark. Did Mason still stay under 100? Yeah, he's sitting on 99 yards. 1:43 left. And Auburn will go to 2-0 with Mississippi State coming in to play on Pat Dye Field at Jordan-Hare Stadium next Saturday. If you're a Tiger fan, you have to be pleased with the results. It wasn't always the prettiest night on both sides of the ball, but all's well that ends well.
That's right. I think if you're Arkansas State, even though this game has gotten away from you, it's 38-9. I still think you walk in that locker room, you hold your heads high, because you had opportunities in this football game to make this a really, really tight football game. If you were able to convert a few of those opportunities in the red zone where you had to kick field goals, if you could have punched those in for touchdowns, this game could have been very different the way it's turned out. So I think both teams walk away from this with their heads up. Arkansas State can go into their Sun Belt Conference and against Troy next week with a lot of confidence.
Arkansas State will return. Michael Gordon is brought down. Good special teams play once again by the Tigers. So with the $1:35 to play, that's a nice paint job. Arkansas State will get it at their own 12-yard line. Kennedy. Griswold with the catch. At these final seconds, Ryan Harsin and his Red Wolves will have a very short week to regroup for the conference opening. And I think, as you mentioned, Jim, a lot to build on.
Sure. Yeah, a lot to build on with this Arkansas State team. Defensively, they held up really well in this football game. You know, they were holding Auburn very tight to the vest there, going into the early in the second half. Auburn couldn't do anything. They created a turnover, and they gave their offense very good opportunities. They just couldn't cash in, but certainly much to build on. Great group of running backs and Aku and nice receivers in McKissick and Bruce and Jones. So certainly a lot to build on the games in the Sun Belt Conference.
Very close to a late hit, and in fact, the flag comes flying. And it may very well be a late hit against Justin Delane.
Yeah, you don't want to see this at this point in the game, especially. I like the hustle, I like the effort, but 44 seconds in the game, quarterback's going out of bounds.
Number 52. The penalty is 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic.
Kennedy's hurt.
First down.
See, that's the things you get. You just don't need this type of play right now. You know, like I said, you love the effort. You love the fact that he's still chasing him down, but the quarterback's running out of bounds. Just let him jog out of bounds. The game is over. No need to go ahead and take that hit and get a penalty on your defense.
Philip Butterfield has come in to take his place. And he throws it, and a flag comes flying on this one. 38-9. And good to see Adam Kennedy back in the game.
Holding against an eligible receiver, number 28 of the defense. The penalty is 10 yards from the previous spot and includes an automatic first down.
So Kenny Williamson tacks on the additional yardage. That's 9 flags against Auburn.
And not the way you want to finish the game. Gus Malzahn, I'm sure, is not happy with 2 straight penalties on his defense.
Just off the hand of Jones. They haven't been able to click. McKissick had the one big pass play, but they've got weapons as they get ready for the Sun Belt with Jones and McKissick. Not that the league didn't already know what those guys could do, but yeah, they're exciting guys to watch. And Kennedy down at the 45 of Auburn. That may be the last play of the game. Let's see. Now they're going to try to snap it one more time. Red Wolves trying to hustle up. And get the right personnel on the field. It appears. Yes. Snap for 3 seconds. Kennedy needs a block on Holland. Tiptoes that sideline and is out. That's the ball game. So the Auburn Tigers, odd week for Gus Malzahn, facing the team that he left behind at Arkansas State after just 1 year. I'm sure he's glad it's over with the victory. And there'll be a lot of hugs and handshakes, not only for Gus, but for many of those Arkansas State players as this one winds down here at Jordan-Hare. Final score is Auburn 38, Arkansas State 9. Auburn 2-0, and the SEC awaits. We will be back with more from Jordan-Hare in just a moment. Auburn wins it 38-9. Well, as we anticipated, a very emotional scene for Gus Malzahn as he reunites with the Arkansas State players that he coached a year ago. Down to the field in Elizabeth.
Trey, 73 yards rushing last weekend, just shy of 100 tonight. How have you and the other receiver or running backs been so successful?
You know, we practice hard. You know, we preach to each other that we got to be consistent every week and making big plays. And we're looking forward to next week. And this is a good week of work that we got to put in for Mississippi State. So we're looking forward to it.
Exactly. How important was this win and to work out some things, especially offensively, heading into SEC play?
You know, winning is contagious. And by next week, you know, we got to feel what winning is. And again, and we're looking forward to next week, and we're looking forward to everybody to continue to be consistent and get another W.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Bob?
Trey Mason picking up where he left off a year ago with another outstanding rushing effort here tonight. 1,000-yard rusher last year, and now Auburn heads in to the Mississippi State game at 2-0.
Well, I think coming into this football game, they wanted to find out what they had in Nick Marshall in this passing game before SEC play started. And I think they know a little bit more about their quarterback. I think they know a little bit more about their wide receivers before that happens. They know they're going to be able to run the football with these 3 running backs and that offensive line. But I think they found out a little bit more about their quarterback in this one.
Auburn 38-9 is our final score. And as you can imagine, this is one of the odder scenes that you'll see in college football. The winning home coach going through the receiving line on the other sideline. A great moment.
Yeah, it just shows you how well liked that Gus Malzahn is. Every player comes up, gives him a hug. All the ex-coaches and wives and all that kind of stuff from Arkansas State. They all respect Gus Malzahn and what he was able to do there at Arkansas State.
So a very interesting week is a victorious end for Auburn and the Tigers. They take on Arkansas State and prevail 38-9. Our next broadcast will come your way Saturday, September 21st. For our crew here at Auburn, Tim Couch, Elizabeth Morrow, Bob Rathman, thank you for joining us. So long from